Jim, of course, that means it's time to move on. And as we move on here with the show, I have some audio. Let's stay on the topic of WWE. I have some audio that a lot of listeners sent over in the last week, and I think it was because different parts of it went viral at different points.
Oh, is this again our favorite old married couple are having fusses again? And I've got people tweeting me this like crazy. So I'm glad you brought it up so we can put this to rest.
We've talked about Dave Meltzer and Bryan Alvarez's discussions / arguments about AEW booking in the past, but now it's spread to WWE. Let's see who we agree with. Again, a lot of people sending this over. It's from F4W Online's YouTube channel. Is Solo Sikoa being booked well? We'll stop this at various points, Jim. If you have a thought, just honk your horn.
Unlike if Dave and Bryan have a thought, it dies of loneliness.
Running down, and then JC and him got in a brawl, and Nick Aldis comes out and he signed them to an impromptu match. And they had a long impromptu match, and it wasn't particularly exciting.
It was very sluggish. Okay, one thing, I hope that's not Jeff Cobb's new wrestling gear, and he was just doing that because it was an impromptu match. So
well, yeah, it was supposed to be an impromptu match.
So I get that could be what it is, but I'm kind of.
Let me stop it there. What did he wear? Did you see it?
Isn't that when he ran in, or is this? Are they talking about the week after? I'm lost on the frame of reference here.
I think they're talking about the SmackDown that we both missed.
Oh well, that's probably it then. I wouldn't understand why he wouldn't be wearing wrestling gear if he was. But it was an impromptu match. But nevertheless, his name isn't Jeff Cobb anymore. We didn't bring that up. Because remember last week when they said, it's the biggest free agent in the world, Jeff Cobb. And I said, okay, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Jey Uso, Jeff Cobb is not very Samoan or bloodline-ish. And they've changed it. And now, move over Chief Peter Maivia. JC Mateo is Jeff Cobb's new name, which kind of sounds like a fucking car dealership somewhere on the coast of Oregon. But I don't know what he was wearing. But Dave's the fashion police. So
let's go back to the dynamic duo from Wrestling Observer Radio.
Scared that because it's the exact same thing that he wore at the thing that's like what he's supposed to, because that is like nothing happening gear. He's got to get out of that for sure.
By the way, you mentioned Solo Sikoa being protected. You do realize the last time he's won a match on TV was...
Well, he's never wrestles on TV.
December.
But he never wrestles on TV, but he's being protected.
He wrestles on pay-per-view. And
he hasn't wrestled hardly at all.
He has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7...
What?
8, 9. He's wrestled 11 TV matches, and he's won 0 until this past match.
Well, there you go. Then they're trying to get him ready for Jacob.
Well, let's stop it there.
They're trying to get him ready for Jacob. What did he just say? First of all, I love it. I love it when Uncle Dave jumps in. We're like, no, he's not, or no, it's not, or he disagrees before poor old cousin Brian can get the question out. But no, we've been talking about this, that Solo has been kind of diminished and, the bloom is off of him a bit. And he hasn't won a match in forever. He's always the one who gets beat because, it's better than the option of beating Jacob. But it's startling to hear 11-0 is the record. Because it seems like they would have thought to give him one win in there just to keep him in the fucking game. But so then Dave says, well, they're trying to get him ready for Jacob by losing every match? What?
No, we said when they did, I think, the Survivor Series, and Solo lost there. Because he kept being the one to lose. We said they're not really booking him that strongly. And then he wasn't even on WrestleMania. And I know he's part of the Jacob Fatu stuff, but still, he's kind of been an afterthought now. Someone who was a main player, it doesn't feel like they're booking him very strongly at all.
Well, and to be honest, and we'll go back to the Katzenjammer kids here in a second so they can tell us what they think. But I think it's simple as this. If you go back about a year and whenever Solo popped up in this bloodline position, I said, the problem is that should be Jacob Fatu. That should be the street champion. That should be the fucking enforcer. That should be the spot they put the Solo in originally would have worked better at being Jacob Fatu. And then once they got out of that story, they actually got the real Jacob Fatu. And now he has overtaken and surpassed Solo in terms of the out of control, mean, street fighting fucking Samoan. And because he's so much more, I don't even say impressed, but so much more visual with what he can do. And not only that, but the danger that he puts off, the aura that he possesses, that he's not only taken off and left Solo, but he's the kind of guy that they couldn't have made Solo a babyface. They were putting a lot of heat on him, and he was beating a lot of the people that the baby faces that the fans liked, so they would boo him. But he wasn't the kind of guy that would impress the fans enough to cheer him with his insanely impressive work while he's getting that heat. And that's Jacob. So I think you've just got two people in a similar genre and makeup vying for kind of a similar spot, and one of them's clearly standing out more.
And again, the booking hasn't helped.
Well, I think that's why they're booking him that way.
I mean, he was really hot.
That's what I'm saying.
He was really hot as the silent bodyguard for Roman. And then when he first turned heel and turned against him, there was a chance there. And it kind of worked for a little while. And then they just started burying him on the show. And he hasn't won any matches. He's a heel boss who doesn't win.
But he's not the boss anymore, really. When did Jacob show up?
Was it the summer?
I don't keep these dates, but I think that Solo's perpendicular fall in booking can be directly attributed to Jacob Fatu's arrival and subsequent ascension.
Well, like you said, let's go back to Fritz and Ditz.
He's got no credibility, dude. He always loses. Always. He's always beaten.
You know that wins and losses mean nothing in WWE.
No, they do mean something. That's why Jacob Fatu has never been beaten. They've never beaten the guy.
And that's why they're feuding the two of them. They're feuding the two of them. So
I know. I'm wondering why they're feuding them. Like, give Solo something.
Well, they are. Well, I guess they're going to start to do that now. But the point is like the way that they book title match, they have people lose 10, 15 times in a row, and they'll give them a title match.
Yeah, for geeks. But for the top guys, they don't beat them. There's a reason that Jacob Fatu has never been beaten.
Well, yeah, because they're super protecting Jacob Fatu.
Yes, exactly.
But Solo is the guy who's going to feud with him for next. But they don't care. They don't care.
Wait a minute, Brian. So correct me if I'm wrong, but Dave is saying then the way that they're setting this up is the guy that's never lost versus a guy that never wins. Is that the way to put the edge on this thing?
And he's saying the guy that never wins has been protected by the booking. I think is what he's saying. That the booking has
yes, but he hasn't. That's what I'm saying is that, and they're doing this dissension because it's a natural thing, and they're getting some mileage out of Solo. And I'm not saying they're going to cast him off to Gilligan's Island and fucking, we're never going to see him again. But they have, two people vying for a kind of a similar slot on the card. And they're transitioning from one to the other. And I would imagine that if you go back and look, Solo's descent started when Jacob's ascent started, and they're just switching places. But to say that they're protecting Solo in any way or this is ridiculous. They're not protecting him. They're winding him down.
Let's go back to Dave Meltzer and Bryan Alvarez discussing Solo Sikoa's booking.
should. If you want people to care about it, they didn't care about that ladder match.
But they still...
And they didn't care about Solo winning, except they were mad because they didn't have Phoenix or like two guys who can do ladder matches
But the point, they've taught, how many times, I mean, they've taught the fans that wins and losses don't matter. The fans don't care about wins and losses.
They do.
I mean, it's obvious. You've seen how many times that they'll put a match that in theory shouldn't draw because one of the guys always loses, and it does draw. So it's like, I've been studying this. The fans, it's not a big deal to the fans.
He's studying again, Brian. He's been studying this. He's studying again.
He's a big studier, but
when did they put that match on? That with some flunky that everybody thought wouldn't matter, and then it did, and it drew. What is he referring to?
Yeah, and drew for who? Is he talking about AEW when they just have like a high spot match and it gets the same audience that everything else on the show gets? Or is he talking about...
I think he's clearly
WWE?
referring to the WWE here because that's the whole topic. So I'd like to have that, for instance.
I don't know. Let's see if he gives it.
So it's like, I've been studying this. The fans, it's not a big deal to the fans. Yes, they will protect a few guys like Solo.
Yeah, important
I mean, not
guys.
Solo, but like Jacob. Like Jacob. But Solo's a guy who they obviously feel that they can beat, but they still treat him like he's a top guy. I mean, he gets plenty of promo time. The key in WWE is your promo time.
I know, but people don't care about Solo. He actually doesn't get a very good reaction. Jacob gets a great reaction because they can see he's special.
Yeah.
Because he never loses. And he's always the guy that has to save Solo.
But they push Solo, but Solo gets lots of TV time and he gets a push. They
he needs to start getting some wins.
Let's stop it there for a second.
I tell you what, I'm glad I'm not married to Dave. Because he won't give up for anything, will he?
And give Alvarez credit. Every time we listen, Alvarez is kind of on the right side of these things, but also he puts up with these nonstop arguments, I guess.
He's got the patience of a saint.
Let's go back to the discussion of Solo Sikoa's booking.
Or this ain't going to be much of a feud.
Well, he's going to lose the feud, so it doesn't matter. But the point is, especially for heels, they beat heels all the time. And Solo, they beat heels all the time. They don't care. I mean, it's like that's just part of the deal. I mean, it's... this is not anything new. This has been the case in WWE for decades. They do not, when they book, they're not booking long-term who he's going to win and he's going to get a title shot. They'll just do whatever they want. Doesn't matter. Doesn't care. And then when it comes to, we've got to get somebody ready for a title shot. This guy's lost a bunch of matches. We'll put him in a four-way and he wins the four-way and he gets the title match and all those losses don't matter and the people accept it. If the people didn't accept it and it didn't work, they'd stop doing it. And
let me stop it there for a second.
I was going to say, this is coming from the guy who says, now, Tony Khan has long-term booking plans and everything means something. And if something is referred to from previous, well, this all goes together. So it's a goddamn giant web of carefully crafted, intricate, interweaving stories over with Tony, and the WWE is just doing whatever the fuck they want to do with no planning?
Or is he justifying their planning because this is the way they do it, and then he says the fans are okay with it? I mean, because the other option is, I guess you just don't come to the arena at all, but WWE is a different kind of thing right now. They're going to draw people no matter what. It may not be a sellout.
But I think that nobody can deny that. I'm not saying that the WWE is writing every show and scripting every fucking word months in advance, but that they have had and continue to have a clear plan, barring injuries and interference from the board of directors or the rocky spots. They plan shit quite a ways out, don't they? Hasn't it been kind of obvious that's what they're doing for a while?
It has seemed like that, but let's go back. Maybe they'll explain where they're coming from here. Let's go back to Wrestling Observer Radio's discussion that all the listeners were sending to us.
And I'm not, it's like, of course it's better if you make wins. I think it sucks that wins and losses don't matter, but they don't. They don't book, like, and this is a perfect example. They're building this guy up for a feud with Jacob. Jacob is a top guy. They protect Jacob.
I know, but Jacob is a top guy, Dave, because he never loses.
No, he's a top guy.
He's always the guy who gets the win. He's always the guy that protects Solo.
And he's super over.
I know, and if he lost all the time, it would be different.
Yes, but because of the booking that got him super over. I'm sorry.
No, but I mean, that's an interesting point. Of course, he's more spectacular, but also if he lost every match, he wouldn't be as over.
Exactly. And that's the point that can't be drilled into the broccoli here deep enough, is that if Jacob Fatu came in and somebody had to save him every time and he got beat every time, he would be Dolph Ziggler, the most entertaining physical guy in the ring that never wins and nobody gives a shit. But he's not, because the booking complements the talent that they have got. They got Jacob Fatu and they are booking him commensurate with his talent to get over by not ever beating him and by making him a monster. That's how those things go hand in hand. When Dave says wins and losses don't matter, may not matter to the audience, to the office, to the writing staff. They may say, well, we beat that guy all last year, but we'll do something with him now. But the fans, it matters, because when the fans figure out, except for the tiny little segment of the Davites, him and the Davites, that worship that type of thing that he likes, where they just all just do a bunch of moves and then go home, it doesn't matter to the hardcore fans with the wins and losses, because they're just watching moves. But to the general overall population, if a guy always loses, he's a shits. And that's why that, there's underneath guys on the card and main event guys on the card. The main event guys don't usually lose. But this is, how is Dave not being able to pick up on this?
It's kind of surprising, actually, to hear Dave say all this, just because it doesn't make any sense. It's almost like he's trying to justify someone's booking, but let's go back to more audio.
To their top guys. And my point is, they don't protect Solo.
To a degree. Oh, but they give him all kinds of interview time.
I know, but people don't care about him. It doesn't matter if he's got promo time if they're chanting for everybody except him. They don't care about Solo.
Well, you say that.
And the feuds that he had.
Okay, so here's the thing. So wait a minute. So by saying that, you're saying that they're booking badly and that the feud will not work.
I'm saying they're booking Solo badly, yes.
Okay, if the feud doesn't work, then that's fine. But what if the people react to the feud?
But Dave, I've already seen it with Solo. Like, he had a feud with Cody, and nobody cared about Solo. He had the feud with Roman, and people didn't care about Roman. Yeah, it's going to do business because Cody is in there, and Roman was in there.
Well, then there you go.
But you could have put anyone in there. It wasn't Solo.
But it did business. I mean, it did business, so that's all that counts at the end of the day.
See, again, he's justifying everything. Like, I don't know why he's justifying, unless Paul said don't criticize it. I don't know why he's justifying the booking here.
Well, he's going to die on this hill when it doesn't even really fucking matter. But the thing is, yes, Alvarez is correct. If you put Solo or anybody else in with a big star, it'll do some kind of fucking business, but it's not going to be the main event at WrestleMania. And they're talking about this feud, this rivalry. I am thinking that at some point, Solo and Jacob will have a breakup and they will do 3 or 4 weeks of television, of interaction or whatever, and they'll have a match and Jacob will win it. And that's going to be that rivalry. I don't think this is a multi-match, feud for the ages that we are seeing set up in front of our eyes.
Do you think it works if it's, and I'm not saying I want this, but I'm just thinking out loud, if it's Jacob Fatu having to get through a bunch of new bloodline members to get to Solo? Once again, Solo puts barriers in front of him, whether it's JC Mateo or Heckel or whatever it may be.
Well, I'm almost wondering if they're not going to save some of that for Jacob to be the boss of the the new bloodliners, and Solo just to kind of be Iggy'd out.
It seems to me that they're already leading down the road of Jacob being a babyface, so I don't think they're going to go there. Do you?
Well, I'm wondering whether, well, yeah, you're right. I thought there might be some period of time where Jacob got Solo's spot and was the boss of whatever, and then the group potentially might fucking turn against him. But nevertheless, point being, this ain't going to be the Freebirds and the Von Erichs.
No, it won't. There's a little more audio. Should we play more or should we give up? It's your call.
It's up to you. How hilarious are they on the out?
I don't know. Let's hear the end of this.
Hey, does it work? If it doesn't, if it works, it worked. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and then you got to stop doing it. But when it works, the fact that they do this and it works, it's like, okay, that's what the fans think. If it didn't work, I'd go, hey, guess what? This doesn't work. You gotta do this. But these feuds worked, so there's your answer. It's like, believe me, there have been times in history where what you're saying was 100% accurate and the stuff wouldn't draw and it wouldn't work. This is not that time because all of those feuds worked.
Well, there it is. All those feuds worked. And, of course, Dave's longtime friend Paul Heyman's thing was always, if it works, it works. So who knows who's feeding Dave the information that this is working.
But who gets to say whether something works or not?
Well, that's the thing. If it works, it works. Okay, what does it works means? Does it mean the promotion's happy with it? Does it mean the fans are buying more tickets because of it? The fans are just where they were because of it? What is working in this sense?
And that's also, it's hard to tell these days because the WWE has got themselves in a position where if they just avoid the a bunch of guys going out and dropping their pants, taking a shit in the middle of the ring, people will enjoy it live. You can see that they're singing along with entrances and standing and watching guys do stand-up without the comedy for 20 minutes at a time. So it's not like they're going to riot and set seats on fire if, matches are a little bleh, because they're apparently having fun. But at what point is it just, we got to see something here for our money between the prices and everything else? I don't know.
Well, that's the WWE section of the show today, and that's the review of Meltzer and Alvarez once again disagreeing, and once again we're on the side of Bryan Alvarez here. But Jim, after a discussion like that, whether you're Bryan Alvarez or just the average person with ears, you may start thinking about tonight's sleep, or just going to sleep right now. Imagine if you had a comfortable bed right now, right in front of you, a bed from our friends at Helix Sleep.
Well, imagine, let's say you have narcolepsy, or you've been bitten by a tsetse fly during an excursion to the South Sea Islands, and you've got some kind of sleeping sickness. And what you need to do, folks, is you need to put a mattress in every room of your house. That way, if you just happen to nod off right in the middle of a conversation, let's say, let's say you just happen to nod off right in the middle of a conversation. Let's say you just happen to nod off right in the middle of a conversation and you're going to fall. But you want to fall on a Helix Sleep mattress because that way you can get a good night's sleep or a good day's sleep, whatever day or time that it happens to be. It could be afternoon, it could be morning. Sometimes these things just happen, Brian. Just like that. Jody Hamilton used to nod off and go to sleep and snore in the WCW offices at the, what was it, the North Tower or the South Tower? I get my directions confused now. And they had to give him a corner office with a door that they could shut because when he was in the cubicle, you could hear him all over the floor. See, now, if he'd have had a Helix mattress in that cubicle where he could have laid down flat instead of sitting at his desk and snoring, well, it would have saved everybody a lot of trouble. They wouldn't have to move his file cabinet. You see what I'm saying, Brian?
Not exactly. Although, they say that Thomas Edison liked to just take a nap wherever he was. It didn't matter. He would just lay down on the ground and start sleeping. Imagine if you had a Helix Sleep mattress everywhere including Jody Hamilton's cubicle.
Well, that's true. And my Uncle Harold, he had a similar habit. He just liked to take a shit wherever he happened to be. Of course, that was a lot more unwieldy, and it made him a lot less popular than if you just wanted to take a nap wherever you might happen to be. But
yeah,
I'll tell you what, poor Aunt Beulah had to carry a bucket around and some towels everywhere she went. But folks, if you would like to fall into a lovely night's sleep, well, it's not an accident. You don't have to be thrown. You can just fling your own self onto a Helix sleep mattress, and it'll help you with the snoring. You know, they got the special mattresses, Brian, where if you snore, well, they'll give you a mattress that's specifically tailored and manufactured to help you not snore. As a matter of fact, it has a little indentation there. You just stick your face in it.
Nope,
and then you put a strap on the back and your head is stuck in there. And even if you do snore, they can't hear it in the next room.
Helix, not Helix. Helix has no strap-on mattresses, ladies and gentlemen, but you can strap on
what kind
the
of strap-ons do they have?
Let's talk about sleep, which we would all like to be in right now. Let's sleep.
Well,
with
speaking of being in things, let's say you're in pain. Let's say you got back pain. Well, they've got a variety of mattresses that can help you with your various sacroiliac issues. They got firm ones, they got soft ones, they got ones that fold up like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And boy, I'll tell you what, sleep apnea, you want some of that? They got one that can give you that. No, I'm sorry, that's what you want taken away from you.
Please.
You don't want the sleep apnea. You want to get, well, they have something that will help with your sleep apnea. I thought it was a positive thing, but it's a negative thing. And if you're sleeping too hot, you're sweating. Overnight, you're sweating, Brian, up there in New Jersey, sweating. Well, they've got mattresses that can cool you. You touch these things, it's like laying your hand on an air conditioner. It'll just cool you. It'll send chills all through your body, so you will never again cook in the middle of the night. They've got all these fancy damn things that they're making these days. And of course, at Helix, we've talked about you can rest assured that no one has done any unsavory things on these mattresses ahead of time. They're brought right to your door, wrapped up in plastic, not like these mattresses out at the mattress store that anybody, and we've talked about what in the world goes on with the mattresses in people's homes, Brian. Well, I think everybody out there right now, you just think to the last time that Granny paid a visit, you know she's incontinent, and she may have put a towel down, but what the fuck? It's on your mattress in the guest room there, or the kids. Look at what the kids do, especially when they have taco night over at basketball practice and they come home shitting like gooses. You know, the mattresses in your homes right now, people, need to be replaced. Just do the blue light test, or is it a purple light? Or is it a black light? What color light, Brian, shows all the fecal matter,
ladies and gentlemen,
and the urine?
I'm urinating right now to get back on track. I'd like to get back
semen,
on track.
There's all kinds of semen, and I'm not talking about sailors.
Thomas, that's right.
I'm not talking about people in the merchant marine when I mention semen on your mattress. I'm saying
let's get to the point.
Clean that shit up,
let's get to the point,
folks.
and let's talk about the mattresses.
HelixSleep.com/JCE is the code that you can use to go to Helix and get your fine, clean mattress in a variety of different ways. They got the Luxe mattress collection, the Elite mattress collection. They'll delineate all those. You take the little quiz, you get the mattress delivered to your door. You sleep well forevermore. You sleep so good you never want to get up again. You sleep so well that you tell your family just leave you alone and let you atrophy in that bed. And you can do it cheaper than ever before right now, because for Memorial Day, and actually all the way until June the 1st, I'll have you know, 27% off site-wide and a free bedding bundle with any Luxe or Elite mattress order, by the way. So 27% off site-wide for anything you got, and a free bedding bundle, which is a sheet set and mattress protector if you buy any of the Luxe or Elite mattress collection items. 27% off of anything is good enough. But then if you get the free bedding bundle, well, now the sheet, the mattress protector, that's a big deal. Especially if you have children or pets or incontinent senior citizens. Or let's just say that you get shit-faced drunk every now and then and don't actually get up whenever you just piss yourself.
Why don't we just focus on...
Well, you know, these mattresses should be rotated quite a bit. So,
you know what that means, Jim? It's time to wrap it up.
Yes, helixsleep.com/JCE. That's where you go to save that money and get that mattress.
You know what that means? That's right. helixsleep.com/JCE. No, that's not what we use for Helix, Jim.
You can make money on these mattresses too if you do it right.
No, we're at the end. We're not even close to the end. We are at the end. We will not continue. helixsleep.com/JCE.
Charged by the hour.